Stop spending money on fancy fertilizers and expensive amendments. What if I told you the secret to doubling your raised bed harvest is literally sitting in your kitchen trash right now? And no, I'm not talking about compost. This is something completely different that master gardeners have been quietly using for decades. Stick around because what I'm about to share will completely transform how you think about feeding your garden beds. Hey there, garden friends. Welcome back to Earthly Gardening, where we prove you don't need deep pockets to grow incredible food. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found us. We're all about practical, budget-friendly solutions that actually work. And to my returning viewers, thank you for being part of this growing community. Before we dig into today's game-changing technique, do me a quick favor, smash that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. Why? Because I share these uncommon gardening strategies every single week, and you won't want to miss what's coming. Trust me, your future harvests will thank you. All right, let's get into this. So here's the deal. Most people approach raised bed gardening like it's a one-and-done situation. They fill it up, plant their seeds, water regularly, maybe toss in some store-bought fertilizer, and hope for the best. But here's what separates backyard gardeners from those folks pulling massive harvests year after year. They understand something crucial. Your raised bed is a living ecosystem, not just a container filled with dirt. Now, what I'm about to share might sound almost too simple, but that's exactly why it works so incredibly well. We're talking about stratified feeding zones. Fancy term, right? But here's the beautiful part. You're already familiar with the concept. You just didn't know it had a name or how powerful it could be for your garden beds. The big reveal. Picture this. Instead of treating your raised bed like one uniform block of soil, you're going to create distinct feeding layers that work together like a slow-release system throughout the entire growing season. Think of it like a lasagna, but instead of pasta and sauce, we're building nutrient highways that your plants can tap into exactly when they need them. Here's where it gets interesting. Most gardeners make the mistake of mixing everything together: compost, fertilizer, soil amendments, all blended into one homogeneous mixture. Sounds logical, right? But nature doesn't work that way. In a forest floor, nutrients exist in layers. Different organisms live at different depths. Root systems access various zones depending on what they're seeking. We're going to mimic that brilliance in your raised beds. Breaking down the method. Let me walk you through exactly how this works, and I promise you'll be shocked at how straightforward this is. Layer 1, the foundation zone. At the very bottom of your raised bed, about 12 to 18 inches down, if you're working with deep beds, this is where the real magic begins. You're not putting finished compost here, no. This is your carbon-rich bulking layer, the foundation that quietly does the heavy lifting underground. We're talking rough, chunky materials. Small branches with chips, straw, dried leaves, even shredded cardboard. These are materials that break down slowly over months, not weeks, giving your bed long-term structure and resilience. Why does this matter? As these materials decompose, they create natural air pockets that dramatically improve drainage and prevent waterlogging, especially during heavy rains. At the same time, they feed beneficial fungi and microbes that help shuttle nutrients up to your plant's roots. Think of it as building a living, breathing ecosystem beneath your soil. Even better, this layer acts like a sponge, soaking up excess water and slowly releasing it during dry spells. And here's the kicker. Most of these materials are things you probably throw away every single week. Yet they're some of the most valuable resources you can put into a raised bed. Layer 2, the nitrogen activator. Right above your carbon layer, we're placing nitrogen-rich materials. This is where fresh grass clippings, kitchen scraps like veggie peels and coffee grounds, crushed eggshells, and even livestock manure, if you have access to it, come into play. This layer is usually about 4 to 6 inches thick, just enough to jumpstart biological activity without turning things sloppy or compacted. Here's why this positioning is genius. Nitrogen acts like an ignition switch for the slow-breaking carbon layer below. It fuels microbial life, speeds up decomposition, and keeps the process moving steadily instead of stalling. More importantly, it prevents that carbon layer from robbing your topsoil of nutrients. When carbon-heavy materials break down, they temporarily pull nitrogen from nearby soil, but by placing nitrogen directly above, you create a balanced, self-contained system. The microbes get what they need, the breakdown happens where it should, and your plants never have to compete for nutrients. Quick pause here if you're finding this helpful and realizing you've been doing things the hard way. Drop a comment below telling me which layer surprised you most. I read every single comment, and I love hearing about your garden setups. Also, if you haven't hit that like button yet, go ahead and show this video some love. It helps more gardeners discover these budget-friendly techniques. Alright, back to building your powerhouse raised bed. Layer 3, the transition zone. This is your partially finished compost layer, about 3 to 4 inches deep. Notice we're not using fully finished compost yet, that comes later. This compost is still actively breaking down, which means it releases nutrients slowly and steadily instead of dumping everything at once. That gradual feed is exactly what plants prefer, especially during early growth. What really makes this layer special is timing. While your bottom layers are working on a months-long timeline, this transition zone operates on a weeks-to-month schedule. It bridges the gap between long-term soil building and short-term plant needs, ensuring there's always something becoming available as roots grow deeper. Different plants feed at different stages, and this layer keeps nutrients coming without spikes or shortages. Pro tip that'll save you money. This is the perfect place for compost that isn't quite ready. That pile in your backyard that's almost there, but still has a few recognizable bits? Perfect. Instead of waiting or tossing it, you've just turned unfinished compost into a strategic nutrient reserve that works exactly when your plants need it. Layer 4, the active root zone. Now we're getting to the top 12 inches, where most of your plant's feeding roots will live. This layer is your blend of quality finished compost and good topsoil, but here's the twist. Don't make it uniform. Uniform soil is easy, but strategic soil is powerful. Create nutrient pockets as you fill this layer. Yes, really. In one spot, concentrate extra worm castings. In another, add bone meal. Over here, sprinkle in a kelp meal. Over there, mix in a bit of well-aged manure. Think of it less like mixing a smoothie and more like setting up a buffet. Why scatter feeding pockets instead of blending everything evenly? Because plant roots aren't passive, they actively hunt for what they need. When nutrients are spread out in pockets, roots grow farther and deeper searching for specific elements. That extra exploration builds stronger root systems, improves drought resistance, and leads to healthier, more productive plants. You're not forcing growth with fertilizers, you're training your plants to become resilient from the ground up. Layer 5, the protection cap. Your final 2 inches should be a lighter, protective material finished compost, aged leaf mold, or even a thin layer of straw mulch. Think of this as a living cap rather than just a topping. It's the layer that shields everything underneath and keeps your soil system running smoothly. This cap serves multiple purposes at once. It slows moisture evaporation so you're watering less often. It protects delicate soil microbes from harsh UV rays and drying winds. It also helps regulate temperature swings, keeping roots cooler in summer and warmer during chilly nights. And just as important, it prevents that hard, crusty surface that forms when bare soil is left exposed, making it easier for water to soak in and for seedlings to emerge. Simple layer, big impact. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like a lot of work, or, I already filled my raised beds. Did I miss my chance? Let me tackle both of those head-on. First, yes, there is some upfront effort. But here's the real comparison you need to make. A few intentional hours now versus constantly buying fertilizers, watering more than necessary, and wondering why your plants still look weak. What you're building here is a self-feeding system that improves every season. The soil gets better, not worse. Roots grow deeper, pests and stress issues decrease, and your workload actually goes down over time. That initial investment of effort pays dividends for years, not weeks. Second, if your beds are already established, you absolutely haven't missed the boat. You can apply a modified version by top dressing in layers throughout the season. Each time you harvest a crop, don't just replant at a 2-inch layer that follows these same principles before putting new plants in. Over the course of one growing season, you'll slowly but effectively retrofit your existing beds into stratified, nutrient-rich systems without tearing anything out or starting over. Let me tell you what happens when you actually implement this approach. Within the first season, you'll notice plants developing darker, healthier foliage. That's a clear sign they're accessing steady nutrition instead of riding those feast or famine feeding cycles that stress plants and slow growth. By mid-season, you'll see something truly remarkable. Plants that normally stall during peak summer heat just keep going. While other gardens struggle, yours stays productive because those deeper layers are holding moisture, buffering temperature swings, and releasing nutrients even when the surface dries out. The roots simply tap into what they need and carry on. Come harvest time, the difference becomes impossible to ignore. We're talking 30 to 50% yield increases compared to standard raised beds. Tomatoes keep producing right up to first frost. Lettuce resists bolting longer. Root crops finally size up properly instead of staying thin and stunted. And here's the best part. This system compounds. Your second season will be even better than your first because those bottom layers are still breaking down, still feeding, and still improving soil structure. You're not resetting the garden each year, you're building momentum. Before we wrap up, let me share 3 quick implementation tips that'll make this even more effective. Timing matters. Build these layers in fall if possible. Why? Because winter allows everything to settle and begin breaking down before spring planting. You're giving your ecosystem a head start. But don't let timing stop you. Spring building works too. Just plant things with longer maturity dates in year 1. Water deeply when building. As you add each layer, soak it thoroughly. This kickstarts decomposition and helps layers bond together rather than remaining distinct separate zones. Think of water as the glue that unifies your system. Inoculate your layers. Sprinkle each layer with a handful of existing garden soil or finished compost as you build. You're introducing beneficial microorganisms that'll colonize and speed up the entire process. It's like adding starter to sourdough. You're seeding your ecosystem. Listen, I could talk about raised bed techniques for hours, but I want to hear from you. Are you going to try stratified feeding zones this season? What materials do you have available right now that you didn't realize could become garden gold? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely want to know. If this video opened your eyes to a better way of building productive raised beds without spending a fortune, do me a favor and share it with one gardening friend who needs to see this. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We're building something special here. A community of gardeners who refuse to let budget constraints limit their harvest potential. Next week, I'm going to show you exactly how to troubleshoot common problems in stratified beds and share my secret trick for accelerating the breakdown process in those bottom layers by up to 3 times. You won't want to miss it. Until then, get out there and start layering. Your plants are going to love you for it, and your wallet will too. Happy gardening, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.